Hey, this is a video about Darkwood by Acid Factory. Be aware of spoilers, ye who enter into these woods. Once upon a time, there was a forest. It was both small and dark. It was also both peaceful and silent. The forest was known as Darkwood. While it was a forest, it was not really particularly filled with critters. They had moose and rabbits, dogs and chickens, and of course, there were also the pigs and the people. They lived there in a small ordinary village and across the forest itself. There was a road which connected the village to a nearby town, and from there, people would come and visit. And many types of visitors there were indeed. Some would come there to camp, and sometimes local doctors dropped by to help out the village. Some others simply visited because they wanted to trek through the forest itself and enjoy nature. While the village was small, they were still quite prosperous. They have some farms, they have a big silo, and buildings were strewn here and there, even outside of the village itself across the woods. Campsites filled with tents and bonfires were left here and there by the campers. By the road were a bunch of cabins, and somewhere deep within the woods, there was a small observatory where a boy would watch the sky every night. It truly was a peaceful community. By morning, the ladies would wash the clothes, while by day, the men would tend to the fields and the barn animals. It was a village as ordinary as it got. Amongst the villagers living outside of the village itself was a family of three consisting of a boy, his mother, and his father. His mom would play him the violin every day, and he loved listening to it. He wanted to be like her, so one day, his mom gave him a violin for his birthday. Since then, they would practice day in and day out. Another boy dreamt of space, of the stars. He loved looking at the starry night sky from the observatory. The children played with dogs, the moose went about their day, the rabbits hopped, and the pigs rolled about. The Darkwood truly was a peaceful place. But then, one day, a bright light shone through the sky, a blinding star, like a piece of heaven itself. A falling star descended to the dark woods, and peace was no more.
Since the day the star fell, a disease has infected the inhabitants of the woods. The people of the woods called it the plague. Rashes, hallucinations, and voices, affecting physical and mental health. With no one else to look to, the villagers sought the local doctor for help. The doctor was not originally a villager of the forests. He moved in with his wife and daughter not too long ago, but since then had quickly become much loved by the villagers. With the plague spreading quickly, roadblocks was put into place and many moved away. The doctor was separated from his family. They were evacuated, but he chose to stay, so he may tend to the ill villagers. Such was his good heart. But it was not to be. The plague spread endlessly, and the doctor could not find a cure. He was but an ordinary, good-hearted man, and this plague was unknowable, alien, and more akin to a curse than an illness. Worse yet, soon all roads in and out of the forest will be consumed by the forest itself.
The trees grew at an unnatural pace. The forest quickly turned into a prison. The sunlight became hidden by an inescapable thicket of leaves and branches. By now, all roads have come to lead nowhere, if not deeper, into the woods. With the road in and out of the forest blocked, those inside were trapped. No longer could they leave, and no longer could they expect any visitors. What was once their home had now become their jail cell. Those infected by the plague grew twisted. Their bodies became monstrous. They kept hearing the woods itself call to them. Some hurt their friends, others hurt their lovers, and some, like the doctor, they hurt their families. Yes, indeed. In staying behind to save the villagers, the doctor had too become infected with the plague. And now, he was trapped with them, with no hope for escape. The plague had twisted the inhabitants of the woods. Many seemed to be transformed by it, consumed by it, from men to animals. Those infected by the plague begin to dig mud and smear mud on themselves. They begin to scrawl weirdly on the ground, both unintelligible and unknowable, almost eldritch in nature. There are those who would attach branches and leaves on themselves onto the mud. They would tear off their clothes and begin to worship the woods itself as some kind of being, some kind of deity. Many of them fled into the woods, never to return, forever taken by the darkness beneath the leaves.
Some were twisted even worse. They became terrifying monsters, and their body tore itself apart to make an open jaw, experiencing a hunger that never ends. The doctor himself, afflicted and haunted by his family who calls for him through the trees, was blamed by the villagers. They looked at him with fear and hatred in their eyes. Maybe, the villagers thought, the doctor was the source of the disease. He had to escape, but the trees blocked all of the ways out of the woods, and they grew faster than anyone could cut down. There was nowhere to run. Nonetheless, escape he must. The good doctor ran away from the village to his house, where he and his family lived for a time, deep in the old woods.
Hey, thanks for making it to the end. Now that you've come all the way here, if you don't mind, please like and subscribe. Also, part 2 will be coming up soon, so stay tuned.